Alright, so there's going to be 6 new weapons to chase after. Well, I say new, they're going to be reprised weapons, I guess, with new perk pools, and some weapons are coming back. I want to kind of go over what are the PvE roles to chase on all of these. I'm sure there are a bunch of other PvP based videos out there, but these are going to be the Iron Banner weapons. So starting off, we have Crimil's Dagger. This is going to be a hand cannon. It's going to be an aggressive frame, so it's a 120. These aren't the most used in PvE, but they do pack a punch. 140s are probably going to be the go-to for everyone, but as you see, this thing does have some pretty interesting perks on it. In its first column, you do have things like Enlighten Action. You could even make slotways work in PvE, but I would pretty much always recommend Enlighten Action. You have the new perk Strategist on there if you're playing into some sort of class ability build. On top of that, you also have Outlaw, which could, be pretty good. Outlaw's kind of got power crept over the couple years, but I mean, it's still an okay perk. But then you also have Kill Clip for a damage perk. Explosive Payload, probably going to be your best option. This is pretty much the go-to for every PvE weapon. But then you even have things like Precision Instrument, which I guess could work, and Adagio, but those two are kind of on the iffy side, with Explosive Payload probably being your best option. So overall, just taking a look at this thing, I think the most sought after go-to role is probably just going to be Enlighten Action, Explosive Payload. It's extremely consistent. Shooting at enemies, you get a bunch of handling and reload speed. You do extra damage with Explosive Payload. On top of that, with Explosive Payload, it will make the range fall a lot nicer because half that damage will have no fall off. At max stacks of Enlighten Action, as you see, you get 50 reload speed and handling. And with hand cannons, you actually get 3 stacks per shot. So this just means you're going to be able to get to this max extremely quick. And the downside of 120 is that their handling and reload speed are just extremely poor. So this kind of fixes that, and you're going to be able to have a very snappy 120. If we enhance the perks, you can see that Explosive Payload actually will grant another +5 reload speed, and Enlighten Action will grant another +5 to the max stacks. It doesn't show it on the stat card, but you will have additional 5 handling and 5 reload. And then you can even throw on things like Arrowhead Break for some additional recoil direction and handling. Pop on a handling masterwork, you're at 100 handling, and then a flare at Magwell, and you're going to have nearly 100 handling, because again, you will get that +5, you'll have 99. You throw on a backup mag, you have 11 shots, crazy high handling and reload speed, alongside one of the best PV damage perks in the game. And overall, this is going to feel like a very snappy 120. And you even have the benefit of Haka Breach armaments, which isn't the best origin trait, but it does actually give extra damage to certain things. It's better than some, and it's obviously better than Skulking Wolf. So Haka Breach armaments, it's okay. There are definitely better hand cannons out there in the wild, but if you don't have a decent one, this is definitely one you can farm for, but I don't think it's going to overthrow things like Midnight Coup or Fatebringer. Now, our next weapon is the Guiding Sight. This is just another returning sky rifle. They changed the perk pool up a little bit, not too much, but it has things like Enlighten Action, Demolitionist. It has the new perk To the Pain, which you're not really going to be using this in PvE, let's be honest. But then you also have Slice, then Hatchling, Kill Clip, Adrenaline Junkie is okay, Strategist. I guess you can make Cascade Point work, and Precision Instrument. So there's a couple different ways you could build this. Right off the bat, you have things like Demo Hatchling, which is a pretty unique combination. If you're playing into some sort of Threatling build, you get a bunch of grenade energy back for your Threatling grenade, and then on top of that, Hatchling will make Threatlings. This is a very unique role if you are specifically playing into one build, and so I don't know if I would recommend it. And there are a bunch of other weapons that can get this perk combination now, namely another PvP weapon that I will go over later down the line. I'm actually really excited for that. But still, overall, Demo is going to be a very strong perk in the first column, even if you don't pair with Hatchling. Demo Adrenaline Junkie will be decent. Demo Kill Clip could even be good, but probably wouldn't recommend it. If you just want to go for a full-on ability energy, you have Demo Strategist, which could be a pretty interesting option. I don't think it's going to be that good, but if you want to get your grenade and class ability back really quick, this has you covered. And probably the most interesting option that this thing can roll is things like Strategist and Slice, because Slice, when you use your class ability, you can apply Sever. Strategist will get your class ability back faster. I don't know how often you're going to take advantage of this, but this is a pretty unique combination that it can roll, so I wanted to point it out. And if you're severing a lot of enemies with, maybe on something like a Hunter, you're going to get your class ability back extremely quick. With something like Strategist, you're going to be able to use this pretty much all the time. Now, if you're just looking for a pure damage route, you can always go with things like Enlighten Action. Once again, you're going to get +50 reload speed and handling. If you enhance it, you get additional +5. Precision Instrument is also very strong because with its enhanced version, you will also get the 20% buff to that precision damage that it's doing. So this is going to be just a solid kind of GM style weapon, a solid single target weapon. You're going to get a bunch of benefits. On top of that, you get a lot of extra damage. Again, if you want to go for a more build route, you can go Demo Hatchling or Demo anything else. Demo Strategist, get your ability back, and then the Strategist Slice are going to be very solid. What I would probably pair though is just Precision Instrument and Enlighten Action. You could then pair that with the other things like we were talking about, Arrowhead Break, 100 recoil direction. You can then throw on a handling masterwork, flare at Magwell. You're going to have 100 handling and 100 reload speed because of that additional +5, a backup mag, and you're going to be good to go. This thing is pretty solid. You kind of build it however you want to. those are probably the 3 best combinations I would go for. But again, overall, I don't really think you're going to be using this over some other options. So if you just want to go that slice strategist route to have that completely unique role, that is something I would definitely recommend. And then its origin traits the deer focus, which gives it more range and accuracy, which I don't think is the best on a scout rifle, but it is better than some of our other origin traits. Again, it's better than Skulking Wolf. And I think I forgot to mention this is a high impact frame, so it is going to be the slower shooting scout rifle. Not the most fun for PvE, but you know, if you want to try to make this work, this is definitely what I would go for. Now, next up is Riiswalker. This is a returning lightweight frame shotgun. It's going to go in your kinetic slot. Looking at its perks, it really doesn't have a lot. Things like surplus you can make work, slash shot you can make work. Threat remover, honestly, going to be the most interesting one. It's a new perk. And then Discord, I guess you could kind of make work if you're, you know, swapping this and getting kills with it just to get that unlimited ammo. But Harmony is another one you can kind of make work. Vorpal weapon, maybe even Adagio, and that's pretty much it. This is very clearly a PvP focused shotgun, but you know, if you get one of these rolls to drop, it could be pretty solid. And those rolls I'm talking about are going to be things like Vorpal. This is probably going to be just your go-to perk in this column. If you want to play into something where you swap to it, you can go with something like Harmony and Discord, so you get a kill with your other weapon, swap to it. You're going to have unlimited ammo for a little time. You're going to do bonus damage for a little time. Could be fun. I just don't think it's going to be the most viable. So just for a pure consistent roll, Vorpal is probably going to be your best option. You can then pair that with Threat Remover, so every single time you land all your pellets on an enemy, you're going to get increased reload, handling, and stability. So this is going to be very nice because in PvE, you're probably always going to be hitting all your pellets, and then you're also going to be getting that bonus damage as well. So just get a bunch of additional stats alongside some extra damage, which is nice. If we enhance the traits, as you see, Threat Remover is going to require 2 fewer shotgun pellets, which is honestly very good, and Vorpal weapon will give additional fast stability, which is whatever on a shotgun. But for your other things, definitely pair that with Assault Max so you get some additional rounds per minute. And then Corkscrew Rifling is probably going to be your best go-to option for most shotguns. You just get some additional stats for everything. Ranged handling, the 2 most important stats. If you want to go with something like Full Choke, I guess you could to pair with Threat Remover, but you are going to get that reduced precision damage. You don't want that for PvE at all. So I would highly recommend just Corkscrew Rifling. If you want to go with something like Barrel Shot just for more handling, you can. Those are probably going to be your 2 best options. Even Small Bore would be okay. For the Masterwork, I would probably go with handling just so you can swap to it a lot faster, and then throw on something like a backup mag or even a quick access sling. That could also be pretty good just to swap to it faster, but backup mag is probably going to be the way to go. You get an additional shot. You're going to have a pretty solid just PvE shotgun right here. Again, don't think it's going to overtake other shotguns that we have. It doesn't have 1-2 punch. It doesn't have trench barrel, but if you get this to drop and you need a solid kinetic shotgun, this is definitely one I would keep an eye on. But then you do have its origin trait, Skulking Wolf, where it's basically not going to do anything in PvE. So unfortunately, the origin trait is pretty much dead on this gun. But the other stuff, I guess, is okay. Again, just if it drops, I might test it out, but it's not something I would farm for sure. And next up is Claws of the Wolf. This is going to be a rapid fire void pulse rifle. With the pulse rifle buffs, it's honestly kind of decent now. I'm not going to say it's the greatest thing in the game, but it's definitely worth looking out for some of its perks. In this first column, really the only thing you have is Repulsor Brace. Sure, you can make things like Elemental Capacitor work and Perpetual Motion. Elemental Capacitor, since solar is very strong, you get 50 reload speed, which I guess is going to be nice. But let's be honest, there are just better pulse rifles, and this is not going to make you take it over the other ones. So Repulsor Brace is probably going to be your best option. That's obviously going to pair with things like Destabilizing Rounds. This is probably going to be the go-to role, but it also has things like Kill Clip, Rampage, even Disruption Rate could be a fun option, but there's really no other interesting perk in this first column to pair with that. I guess you can make Attrition Orbs work, but I really wouldn't recommend that. So you're probably just going to go with the Void 3.0 roll with Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds. There are a ton of guns that can get this now, so it's not the most unique thing anymore, but it is on a pulse rifle, which is pretty cool because again, the pulse rifles did get a buff. And overall, I mean, I definitely could see this thing performing well, but it again does have the problem where its only origin trait is Skulking Wolf. It's literally not going to do anything for you in PvE, so you basically have no origin trait, so you're just going off the 2 perks right here. And with other guns being able to get those perks, I don't know how much I could recommend this. If you want to go for a pure damage route, things like Rampage could be good. I mean, you could pair that with Head Seeker if you aren't landing constant precision shots. I mean, I guess that could be pretty fun, but you're not really going to be using Head Seeker in PvE. And again, you could go with the Elemental Capacitor because if you do pair it with Solar, you will get 50 reload speed, and most people are running Solar nowadays anyway. So, I mean, I guess that could be nice, even pair that with Kill Clip. But I mean, like I said, there are just other pulse rifles that are going to be better than this. So if you want to go with the Stabilizing Rounds or Repulsor Brace, you can. I would pair that with Armor Piercing to get the additional damage to shields alongside Arrowhead Break just to get some of that recoil direction up with that increased handling. Then probably a reload speed masterwork, backup mag, and you have an okay pulse rifle here. Again, kind of like Riiswalker, I don't think I could recommend this unless it's your only option. It's definitely not something I would farm for, but if you come across it, give it a shot. You might enjoy it, and it might be something worth throwing in your vault if there's ever a specific Void Surge or a Pulse Rifle Champion mod that you need to play into your Void 3.0 builds, but it's not something I was stressed about. Now, next up is Lethal Abundance. This is going to be a high impact frame strand auto rifle, so it's going to shoot very slow, but this thing does have some very fun perks. You have things like Enlighten Action on here, which is going to be solid. Keep Away you can kind of make work in PvE, but this is definitely way more of a PvP perk. And you have things like Slice, and again, honorable mention to Elemental Capacitor, but we're not really taking that. And the second column, Target Lock's okay for single target damage. You have Hatchling for Ad Clear. Collective Action isn't the worst option. Onslaught, and then on top of that, Attrition Orbs. Now, obviously the thing that sticks out the most right now is Onslaught. On a slower fire weapon, this is going to be crazy good. You're going to be able to get the fire rate up very, very quick. The other cool benefit is that Onslaught will also give you additional reload speed, so you're going to get up to 71 reload speed with this right here alone. You can then pair that with things like Enlighten Action if you want to just max that reload speed out while also getting that handling, which is nice because this is going to be a slower firing auto. The handling is going to be a little bit worse on it, so you're going to have a very snappy auto rifle that can shoot extremely quick while also reloading extremely quick. That's not what these auto rifles are supposed to do, but you're getting out of its comfort zone, and now it can do it. If you want to skip out on Onslaught, like I said, Hatchling is going to be an okay option, but there are better options with Hatchling out there in my opinion, so I don't know if I would recommend it on this one. And for Target Lock, there's no real magazine size increase to keep the Target Lock going, so I don't think I could recommend it on this weapon. So Onslaught is probably going to be your best option to make this thing pretty unique and actually be able to slay out a little bit. Now again, you also have things like Slice, but if you're going for a Slice weapon, honestly the Guiding Sight would be a better option because you can pair it with Strategist. So Enlighten Action, probably going to be your go-to. Again, Elemental Capacitor, but if you're using it for the reload speed, you might as well just take Enlighten Action. So you're going to just be able to spray enemies down like crazy, and it's also going to be very snappy. Now for your other options, you don't really need Flare Magwell because you already have 100 reload speed. I would probably go with something like a Pendant Mag to increase your magazine up by 4. You can pair that with the backup mag. You're sitting at 42 rounds, which is very, very solid. Arrowhead Break to get the 100 recoil direction, also increase your handling masterwork. You're at 100 handling, 100 reload speed. The gun's going to be very snappy, going to shoot very, very quick. Fortunately, again, the only origin trait is Skulking Wolf, so it's not going to be doing much for you, but overall, if you want a high impact frame auto rifle that feels like a 720 or even higher, this is going to be a ton of fun, and it keeps its damage with Onslaught, so you're still doing a 360 RPM damage, but you're just shooting extremely quick. So overall, this is a fun option. I don't think I will farm for it, but this is definitely one I will keep in my vault if I do get it to drop, because you never know when you might want to whip this thing out. It could be a ton of fun. And moving on to our last weapon, we have Point of the Stag. This is going to be an arc precision frame bow. As you see on its perk column, it has things like Archer's Tempo, which is pretty much the go-to for every bow, Pugilist, and Strategist if you're playing into some ability-based builds. On top of that, you have Dragonfly, Vorpal for some single targets, Swash isn't bad, and the Precision Instrument, Golden Tricorn, all those will be pretty decent. Now, overall, things like Arch Tempo, Vorpal, this is going to be a very solid GM weapon. You could even switch out Vorpal for Precision Instrument. If you are, shooting a lot more arrows into an enemy, you will get a higher damage decrease. This could be very, very good, especially if you do enhance it, because you will get that additional 20% buff to it. This is probably going to be the go-to role for me. And on every single bow, you always should be using Elastic String, because this will reduce your draw time. You should always use a draw time masterwork as well. Pairing that with Arch Tempo, you're just going to be able to shoot this bow extremely fast. I would then just take straight fletching to negate that negative accuracy that Elastic String provides, and overall this bow is going to shoot extremely quick, and you're going to be able to do a ton of damage with it. Now again, Precision Instrument, if you want to swap that out for Vorpal, you absolutely can. Even if you want to go with Dragonfly just for a more neutral game ad clear route, that could also be very, very good. Unfortunately, if you have the non-denouement from the raid, you might as well just use that because it has Volt Shot and Dragonfly. But if you can't do the raid, this is a pretty solid alternative. If you want to go for like a Pugilist Swashbuckler route, that could be pretty fun. You're getting your melee back, you're going to get more damage with Swashbuckler. I don't know how well that's going to go, but it's a fun option. And again, you do have Strategists. Unfortunately, you don't have anything like Slice to pair with this, but if you're just trying to get your class ability back faster, I mean, you could pair this with another damage perk, you're going to be good to go. But overall, Archer's Tempo, Precision Instrument, probably going to be your best option. You can then pair that with Wildcard, which is a pretty decent origin trait. When you get a kill, you will spawn the 3 little Telesto bolts that will come out and that can also kill additional enemies. Definitely way better than the Skulking Wolf. It's honestly, again, a pretty solid origin trait, and if you pair that with even something like Dragonfly, you get even more ad clear. But again, Arch Tempo Precision Instrument, probably going to be the go-to for me. And then for your mods, obviously Backup Mag's not going to work on a bow, so I would honestly just recommend something like Freehand Grip, just so you could fire from the hip. You know, you don't really have to have ADS with it unless you're just trying to get that extended range. But overall, I mean, very solid bow. I think there are better bows in the game, but if you need a solid weapon for an Arc Surge, especially if there's some bow related champion mods, this one is for sure going to have you covered. Again, not sure how to farm for it, but if you get it to drop and you don't have anything else, you definitely should keep this one. And that is all of the reprised weapons coming in Iron Banner this season. Now, you obviously still can get other weapons, so if you don't have a Tusk of the Boar, you know, you could still farm for that, which is a very solid PvE option. Also, with the blast radius changes, it might be good to look out for a new one of these. So for the new ones though, I don't really see anything too crazy that you need to be chasing. There are some unique combinations like Guiding Sight, which can get Slice Strategist. I mean, Riiswalker, you don't really need Claws, you don't really need Lethal Abundance. Again, kind of fun. I don't think it's super needed, but if you get it to drop, Point of the Stag, again, kind of the same as Lethal Abundance. And Crimil's Dagger, if you don't have a solid hand cannon, I mean, this one is going to be pretty good, but your other option is going to be better. So these are more so focused on PvP this time around, which, you know, I guess that's the whole point of the event anyway. But it is nice to have some PvE things to chase. But overall, these are just kind of B tier options in my opinion. There's no S tier meta defining thing that you need to get. But anyways though, I really hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you all are going to be farming for an Iron Banner, even if it's a PvP weapon. I know I didn't cover any of those, but these do have some solid PvP options. I mean, Crimil's Dagger right here, we have Zen Moment, so that's already looking pretty solid. But anyways though, I hope this helped you all out, and good luck on farming for these weapons if you want any. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.